Hello everyone. Today I'd like to try something a little bit new and different, and that is I want to put together a full income report for the month of December 2025. As you can see here, we're back in the LazyPublisher interface where our data is displayed very simply and clearly. We are going to quickly start with December 2024 to get a good feeling for how the year has actually developed. Small spoiler, not so good. So we'll begin right here. Let's just go back one step. Here we are looking at December of the year 2024. I'll just quickly click on that for a moment. Then we can clearly see that I personally sold 398 books in December of 2024. The total royalties for that period amounted to 2,170 euros. My ad spend was 702 euros and my net profit came in at 1,468. We had two total returns, or rather two refunded items, and 37 reads. I actually don't think that's too bad at all. Here you can clearly see the KDP ads statistics, and it's also quite evident where the bulk of my royalties were generated, and that was through paper packs. 1,979 euros. You can also see very clearly here that most of my books were sold on the German marketplace. This will change over the course of the next year because I've adjusted my strategy accordingly. I wanted to expand more into the US and other English-speaking marketplaces. Whether or not I've managed to succeed with that, we'll find out in just a few minutes. But all things considered, I was actually quite pleased with how December of 2024 turned out, considering that I had only launched my account online a mere couple of months prior. During this relatively short time frame, I had already managed to publish several books, and they had in fact established themselves quite successfully within this brief period. Alright, then let's take a moment now to shift our focus over to December of 2025. To do this, I need to advance another year, and here's the overview again. Just a quick look at last year, or rather this year, a fast comparison. When I click here, I'll now see December 2025. This year I sold 865 books in December. Total royalties were 2,882. The ad spend was drastically increased, reaching 1,213 euros, and the net profit came to 1,668. Total refunds were only 3, and the reads were also significantly higher at 529. As you can see, my ad spend has massively increased. This is also because I naturally tried this year, or rather last year in 2025, to establish myself a bit on the US marketplace, which was only semi-successful. We could certainly say that our advertising expenditure has almost doubled, but looking at the sales, we can clearly see a very significant increase. We also see that I've been selling a lot more of the paper packs and also quite a few of the ebooks. This is because I've sold a great many ebooks on the US marketplace, or rather on English marketplaces like Great Britain or Australia. You can also see here, compared to last year, if you recall, that the German sales and the American, meaning the US sales, have almost balanced out. In Germany, the total number of book sales was 430, and then on Amazon.com it was 384. So it's quite clear to see that the US market has actually already proven to be very profitable for me, and I also wanted to establish the US market for myself precisely because I have a strong concern that the situation on the German marketplace in the next few months or even years will not improve at all, but rather continue to deteriorate. I would, by the way, also strongly advise many others to at least consider translating their books into English and publishing them on the US marketplace. Here you can see again that, of course, the pages read in the USA with 527 compared to, well, okay, Spain is only 2 pages here, which isn't very representative, but that I actually only had pages read in the USA. And because of that, you can also see that my ebooks simply sell better there. Here you can also get a good look, well, at least not for you, at your top 5 books that were sold in December and the total number of pages you have read, And here you can also once again review December for yourselves. Other items you've sold and the dates of those sales will then be arranged chronologically by date, and then you can easily navigate through each entry to precisely review everything you sold in December. Now, of course, the question is whether I'm satisfied with December, as the ad spend took a significant portion of my profit. All in all, yes, it's an improvement over last year, but certainly not the one I'd hoped for. I naturally hope that the US marketplace for me in the year 2026 will once again significantly improve, and that the next December will then also bring a better result for me. I might need to adjust my advertising strategy in the USA once again, and not so aggressively just throw out my bidding or my daily budget. But it's fair to say that for an account that's only about a year and a half old, it's definitely something you can really build upon. Most likely with Merch on Demand, I wouldn't have achieved it this fast, or not just likely, but absolutely certainly because of that tier system they have. But here, once again, it's clear that with KDP, you can truly accomplish quite a bit. And if I hadn't been quite so lazy at certain times last year, I'm sure I would have managed to get an even better outcome. But as I've already mentioned, on the whole, I'm actually quite satisfied with it. It resulted in a positive outcome, and that's really the most important thing in the end. And at the same time, I also had to take care of the continued development of LazyPublisher. That was still a massive project for me in 2025, and at some point you simply have to make a decision about where to focus all your energy. And in my particular case, that focus was on LazyPublisher. That was more of a passion project for me than publishing even more books when I truly didn't know where that journey would ultimately lead. Let's go back to that. So that's good. I hope you had a great December too. Let me know in the comments how it went for you. Are you happy with it or not? What are your learnings from it? Also keep in mind that it's always very important to include a Q4 for your books. This will help establish your keywords, improve your overall ranking, and things can only get better next year. Every single book that has gone through a Q4 is very good. This is something I've learned from my time in Merch on Demand. T-shirts that have already gone through 5 or 6 Christmas sales are almost impossible to push back down in the rankings, and it's no longer as expensive to keep them at the top with an advertising budget. I wish you a great start to the year, and remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new info on LazyPublisher. And of course, if you haven't already, install LazyPublisher and try out our great tool. It's still in beta and therefore completely free. More updates will be released in the coming weeks, so stay tuned and keep an eye out.
Hello.